Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away. And today I'm going to be doing pack 6 of the Agora Models release of the award-winning Apache Longbow AH-64 attack helicopter. So the reason I'm showing you this is obviously this is where we finished in the last pack here. We were doing the back end of the helicopter. I've got no idea what we're doing today. I am going to be having armaments. I'm going to have missiles and all sorts of things, which I'm going to be leaving as a separate video at the end because we do have to put decals on them and there's hundreds of them on this build. So I do keep them in a drawer down here and I'll do all of those at the end. So today I'm really just focusing on the helicopter. Now, if you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description. There's also that QR code on the screen, but let's jump into it. Without further ado, let's get cracking. So starting with stage 40 here, we're going to be starting the left wing. So that's looking just like this. And can you see what I mean about these ornaments? We've got hundreds of these. Now, these are all going to need decals on them as well. But as I said, I'm going to do that as a separate video, so I'll keep these to one side. These are the decals that need to go on them. And this is one of these builds, once again, where I'm going to have to use my magnifying glasses. Now, inside this ingress here, we have got a number, and this one here, you've really got to catch it in the right light, because it's really deep in there. But this is number 2, and this is number 1. But what I am going to be doing is putting some of these. I don't think they're magnets; they're just metal sections, which probably are going to attach to magnets into these holes just here. So that means putting some glue in here. This is just my brush on glue from the range. The range is a sort of like your Hobbycraft, I guess, the Hobby Lobby stores in the US, but for the UK. And just put these in here like that. Perfect. Just going to do the same on this one here. I'm just going to use a cotton bud just to take off the excess glue on the top. Put them to one side and bring over what we were working on in the last pack here. And I'm going to be attaching this to the underside here. So it's going to go on this side here. Just lining up all the holes. So it's going on like that. Now I need some KP screws. Got them here. I'm going to be putting one in this side here. And one just in this side here. Now, just some advice for you. You need to make sure that these lugs are all the way through, so that's fitting nice and flush on there, so there's no gaps. That one was quite hard to get in, but as you can see, that's on. Now, aside from the ornaments, that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 41, we're going to be continuing that left wing. Once again, we have ornaments. We've got this little green thing in here as well, a little green lens. Quite sure what that's for. We'll find that out in a second. Okay, so these missiles actually sit on these stands here. So let me just get them out. So basically the stands would be like this. And the missiles are going to be fitting on like that there. You get the idea. We can do that with the second one as well. But I'll just put them to one side and give my usual apology now. Because sometimes on this build, I'm not clued up on attack helicopters at all. So I don't actually know what these parts are that I'm doing. But I'm actually building a part here, which I would greatly welcome you to tell me exactly what I'm building here. So I'll put that together. In the instructions, it's not telling me what these parts are, you see. But I do need to put these either side of this. So if I just do a dry fit on here, just so you can see, this is going to go in like that. Now there is one to put in the other side as well. And when they're both on, they should look like that. Put that to one side. And this lens now is going to be going on here. It is shaped, so it can only go on one way. I don't think we need glue. I will check that. Nope, that's holding itself in, no problems there. Bring over what we were just working on. And this is now going to be going on top of that section. Be best on the top camera, just like this. Perfect, just pushing that into place. And it holds itself in, as you can see. That's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 42, you've guessed it, we're going to be doing the right wing now, which is repeating what we started in this pack, which means we've got armaments, which I'm going to keep to one side. Taking these out, and once again putting glue in for these metal sections here. And once again, just taking off the excess glue on top. Once again, I will keep these separate from the ones we created first. And then just like last time, I'm going to put this side on, which means that I need to make sure I put these lugs in first because of how hard they were to get in last time. As a matter of fact, they went in really easy on this one. So, don't know. But once again, KP screws just in 2 places here to get this in. So one there and one here. Perfect. And with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. If you think you're having that deja vu feeling, again, we've got these missiles here, which I just want to keep in the bag, but I'm going to take out the green lens because I need that. But I'll put these in there to keep these all together. Put that to one side. And then once again, I'm going to be gluing whatever this is. Together like that. Put some glue just on these parts. And they go in with this flat end towards this part here. Now they don't kind of tell you what angle these go at because the way these fit in, they could be high or they could be low. So what I'm trying to do is just keep them uniform each side, as you see. And then if I match that off with the one that we created here, then they're the same, as you can see. Okay, put that to one side. And then the last thing, again, we've got this green lens to put in here. So this is pretty mirrored what we just did. It holds itself in there, no problems at all. Bringing over the helicopter again. And then I'm going to be pushing this one into place as well. But there you go. That's in just like that. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now, I think things have been going quite easy, haven't they? Not for much longer. We're going to be building the left landing gear. Look at all these parts, which means we've got pins and fiddly things to do. Let's get everything out here. I mean, look. Pins, springs, everything. Okay, so first thing I need, these 2 sections here. Looks like some sort of hydraulic. And this is just going to go into the end just like that. Let's put that to one side for a second because this shock here is going to have a spring in it. Now this shock is metal. It goes in there. I'm going to be taking this shaft, which is going to go in the top here. Now, to lock it into place, you see we've got a slot on here. I need to line up that slot with a hole, just like that. And I need to put a pin in. Now, out of all the pins I've got here, which have got a smooth side and a rough side, it's the larger one. I'm going to put this in a bit of oil. I've got it in there and I need to push this in and push the pin down. So the way to do this is to push the pin down and then put it in like this, as you can see. So let's lock that into place. Now I can just close that off with my pliers. So as you can see, it comes out the other side. So that is going nowhere, but because of the slot in there, it is able to go in and out like that. Okay, holding this way round, what we've just created here is going to be going on there like that, which means we're going to be putting a pin in the side here. And this is the smaller of the pins that we had. I always find putting the pin in first, then putting this in, is the easiest way to do that, as you can see. And then once again, use my pliers to close this up. And that is perfect. Excellent. Now, you see we've got 2 holes just on this side here. That's going to be for this V-shaped detail here. There's a notch on one side. That notch needs to face this area here. So once again, I'm just checking a dry fit on here. It's going to go in like that, and I'm going to glue that in. Now I've got this pipe here. Going to be adding some glue just to the end here, because that's going to go into the hole just at the side here, underneath this section, and then it's going to rest on top of what we just put in there. So that's going to go in like that. Now I haven't glued it in on the top section there. I don't know if I meant to. If I do, I'll glue that later. But for now, I've left that loose. It's only connected here at the moment. Put that to one side, let that dry. Because I'm going to create the wheel now, which means putting these 2 parts together. Just on this side, you'll see we've got 2 other holes for this part here. Push that in. And then I'm going to need to soak this wheel to get this in here, because as you can see, it's not going to go in without hot water. So let me just get some hot water and I'll put this in. And there you go, I've got that soaking. And I've got a cloth here. It doesn't need to soak long. Shake it off, get any water out from the inside, and then just push this in here. You see this goes on quite easy. It's quite an easy wheel. Just make sure the rim is positioned correctly on it, as you can see there, and then dry it off. So we have a wheel. Bringing over what we just created, the wheel's going to go on here, just like that. And then I've got this long pin here, which is going to go in this side there. Make sure it fits all the way in there. And then that leaves me with this section, the section we created right at the start, a hinge, and we've got 3 tiny pins here. So I've got to keep them safe. Put them to one side and move on to the next stage. Now in stage 45, we're fitting the tail antenna. Look at the size of this. Okay. Wow, this is big. Okay, just to give you an example of that, look, all metal. Looking good, huh? We're not actually using that at the moment, though. We're going to bring over what we were working on when we first started this build, because we've got the antenna here to put in. Now that is just going into the ingress that we've got just there, as you can see. Now we do have screws left over from these stages, as you can see, which I'm keeping safe, because believe it or not, even though we had this part, and it's eventually going to go on here, we don't actually use it, because that is all there is to do in that stage. Then stage 46 here, we're going to be fitting the right tail skin, but I'm going to keep these to one side, bring this over, but we're just working on in the last stage, and they want me now to sort these cables out. So basically all of these cables here are going to be coming out of the bottom just here, like that, because I'm about to put this whole section here onto this. Now I do think I need to make this easy for myself, so what I'm going to do is get a little bit of insulating tape just to hold some of this wire down, because as I'm pinning the next part on, I don't want this to come out. I've taken this off, by the way, as well. This just slips off, because what I'm going to do now is take this whole section here. This is going to go on top, probably best on the top camera actually. Let me just lift this up like this without trapping any wires. There you go, it fits in perfectly there. Now this cable marked N, we need to make sure is away from the tail, like that. Then I'm going to be taking this part from stage 37, and that's going to go on top here. Again, I can't really put this on the workstation because of the fins there, but that's in like that. I'm going to hold that with my hands, because I'm holding this now in with DP screws. Now the DP screws came in issue 37, and it's held in 7 places. So let's get these in. It's 3 at the top, 4 at the bottom. Now this is screwed in. I've got no worry about it falling out. But I'll get all 4 at the bottom now. You really do need to keep it up because of this aerial here. You don't want to break it. Might be better actually just to take that out while you're doing this section. It is funny because the next stage is telling me to actually secure these wires down here with tape, which I've done, so I'm glad I've done that. I do need this part though, that's come in this pack, and this is just going to go on the 2 lugs just here. Now, it doesn't need to be glued in, we're just pushing it in like that. And now we've got to make sure that none of these cables now are in the way of any of the screw holes, because we're about to fit the other side in now. So to that end, it does mean that I need to put the antenna back in, bring over this side, and nothing is now trapped in any of these positions, and piece these together. There we go, that's in like that. Perfect. Did you hear that clip in there? Now they're held in from the holes on this side. Let me just turn this around. With CM screws just into these 3 holes here. Now just double checking the holes to make sure there's no cables through there. There isn't, so we're good. Because you don't want to be pinning any cables. Got the CM screws here. These came in stage 45. They're going into metal. So metal screws. Perfect. And then we need a DM screw, which is just going to go into the screw hole at the top here. Now it does want us to do the ornaments, which I said I'm going to leave till later. I will just put this back in to give you an idea of how that's looking. But that is all there is to do in that stage. That looks excellent. So we're going to end this with stage 47, which is basically doing another landing gear. We're going to do the right hand side one now, and I've got this funny feeling we are going to be left with some things left over again. I'm just going to be putting the wheel in water now because my water has got a little bit colder now, so by the time I get round to it, I'm sure it will be malleable. But it is an exact repeat, so once again we're going to be taking this section here and this one and pushing these together like that. Put that to one side. Then I'm going to be taking the spring, putting it down the shock, putting this end in, and once again taking the larger of the pins, getting that through the side here. Do what I did last time, which is line it up, and there we go. That's that one in there as well. Now this one is slightly different because we've got a different section to put on here. We've got this rubber grommet that's got to go on, and this basically pushes on the top. It does stretch so it can fit over like that. It's interesting. Didn't have to do that on the last one. But once again, having this way round, I am going to be putting this into here like that, held in with the smaller pin. Turn this over, and once again I'm going to be putting that little V-shaped thing in with the notch facing me, just into the 2 holes here. Excellent. Bit of glue onto this pipe, so this can sit on here now. Now I can see a little notch at the end of that pipe there. That's needs to be glued onto that notch there. I didn't do that in the first one, so now I know how this goes in. I will put some glue on there as well. So let that dry just while I create the rim or the hub. Put this side in as well, which is pretty much the brake. Make sure that's nice and flush in there. And then I think, can I get it in here? Is it softened up enough? It has gone cold, I have to say. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to warm that up a little bit more. So I'll create this, show you what that looks like. I'll just dried that off. You know, you like watching me do this. See, look how much that's easier to now manipulate. So we're okay on that side, and we're okay on that side. See, creating a wheel, especially when they're this small, is quite easy. So that's going to be going on this side here. Get it the right way around, Wayne, like this. And then once again, we're going to be putting that pin just into there to hold this in. Now that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. I am concerned that obviously we've got these small parts left over again. So I'm going to keep these all in one place. So I should have 6 little pins. Get them in there. 2 of these brackets. 2 of these hydraulic pistons that we created. So they're all in there. Then I've obviously got these 2 parts here as well. Now we have got some screws left over as well. I'm keeping every bit of screw available as well for next time. But there you go. And obviously the other thing we didn't use either was these parts as well. So lots of little bits at the end of this stage that we're having to keep safe. Lucky I've got a storage box for that. But we did make quite a bit of progress on this whole section here. And this is giving you an idea of how big this helicopter is going to be. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Can't wait to see this all working and rotating and doing everything as well. But there you go. Remember, this is the award-winning Agora Models build. This is what won the award in 2024. If you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, and there's also that QR code on the screen. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.